So you're about to start a tiling project, maybe a bathroom, maybe a whole floor, and you're looking at manual tile cutters thinking they're all pretty much the same. They're not. I've seen a single millimeter of flex in a cheap cutter turn a $40 piece of porcelain into expensive garbage. I've been tearing apart specs and comparing real results, and honestly, the difference between a good manual tile cutter and a bad one comes down to one thing: rigidity. Everything else is secondary, so today I'm breaking down 7 cutters that actually deliver from professional grade machines to a handheld kit that fits in your pocket. All the links are in the description. Let's get into it. The Vevor Professional 48-inch cutter is where I want to start because it kind of broke my expectations. At this price point, you'd expect corners to be cut somewhere, but the all-steel frame and solid aluminum base give this thing a level of stiffness that has no business being this affordable. The infrared laser guide is a huge confidence booster, especially if you're newer to manual cutting, because you can see exactly where your scoreline will land before the wheel even touches the tile. And the carriage runs on actual bearings, so it glides smoothly instead of catching and skipping like those friction-based sliders on cheaper tools. Picture this: you've got 3 rooms of 24 by 48-inch porcelain ahead of you. You park the Vevor in the hallway, and for 2 days, that's your cutting station. It doesn't wobble, doesn't shift, just handles everything you feed it. The breaker does sit a little high and can get in your sightline while scoring, which takes some getting used to. And small mosaics are a no-go since the breaking platen is way too aggressive for tiny pieces, but for large format floors at a budget-friendly price, genuinely hard to beat. Now what if you're not doing massive floors at all? What if it's just a kitchen backsplash or a small bathroom with 12-inch ceramics? That's where the Seeutek 14-inch cutter makes so much sense. The double rail design lets you look straight down between the bars to see exactly where your wheel meets the tile. And for following pencil lines on small cuts, that visibility is everything. It's quiet, fast, and they include a spare tungsten carbide wheel in the box, which you don't always get. Saturday morning, you're redoing the backsplash behind the stove. You set this on the counter, score, snap, done. No wet saw, no water everywhere, no noise complaints. The larger Seeutek models up to 48 inches exist, but the smaller format is where this brand really shines, since scaling up introduces flexibility issues on big porcelain. Keep it at 14 inches and you've got an excellent little cutter for the money. Alright, shifting gears completely. The Shijing 48-inch is built for people who cut tile for a living. The double-layer aluminum plate base is the standout here, 2 layers creating a stiff sandwich structure that stays dead flat even after thousands of heavy snaps on thick porcelain. But what really separates it from everything else is the split-handle movable platen. On most cutters, the breaker has one fixed width, so you're either perfect for thick tiles and crushing thin ones, or gentle on thin tiles and struggling with thick ones. The Shijing lets you adjust the platen to match the material, going from massive floor planks to thinner wall tiles on the same machine. The scoring wheel lasts over 30,000 meters, which is borderline absurd for longevity. You do need to invest time in assembling and calibrating it out of the box, and the laser is pretty much useless outdoors in direct sun. But once dialed in, this delivers mark-to-mark accuracy that competes with the most expensive Italian brands. Where the Vevor gives you great value with minimal fuss, the Shijing gives you a precision instrument that rewards the operator with next-level results. For something that won't destroy your back, the Mophorn 1200mm cutter is worth a look. At 12 kilograms, it's noticeably lighter than the steel monsters on this list, and the single-rail design resists lateral twist well. The titanium-coated tungsten carbide wheel reduces friction, so you get a cleaner score with less micro-chipping along the glaze. For tiles in the 24 to 36-inch range, it handles ceramic and moderately thick porcelain without drama. I'll be straight with you though, push it to a full 48 inches, and the base doesn't maintain a consistent breaking edge all the way to the ends, so clean snaps at max capacity require real finesse. It performs beautifully within its sweet spot, but isn't pretending to be an industrial powerhouse. If portability matters and you're working mid-sized tiles, smart, practical choice. And then there's the Mempa TC1200, and honestly, this one just feels right the moment you start using it. The 15 by 45mm solid steel rail is massive. Where dual rail systems can wobble if you press harder on one side, this single spine keeps everything perfectly centered, so the force goes straight down into the tile every time. Dead straight fractures consistently, cut after cut. The dust-sealed bearings are something I wish every cutter had, because on a real job site with ceramic powder and grout dust floating around, unsealed bearings start grinding within weeks. These stay smooth. The auto return handle might sound like a small thing, but after your 100th cut of the day when your forearms are screaming, having that handle spring back on its own is the difference between finishing strong and dragging yourself through the last hour. At 39 pounds, this thing is heavy, no sugarcoating that. Moving it between rooms takes effort and stairs are not its friend. It also only does straight and 45-degree cuts, so don't expect it to help with curves or intricate shapes. But for someone who wants one cutter that just works year after year without babying it, the Mempa is the kind of tool you buy once and never think about replacing. Okay, so if the Mempa is a tank, the Rojoo R2818 is a literal fortress. Dual 20mm solid steel guide rails. Most budget cutters with 2 rails use thin tubes that flex the second you put serious pressure on them. These don't. They physically cannot. The extra wide aluminum base keeps everything planted so firmly that even aggressive snapping doesn't produce a hint of wobble. You can set it up right in the room you're tiling since it's completely dust-free and silent, no water, no silica risk. Pros who've used it say it performs on par with premium cutters costing 3 to 4 times as much, and the engineering backs that claim up. The laser can drift slightly over time and need a quick recalibration, and here's a weird one, there's a little plastic cap over the cutting wheel from the factory that you have to remove before your first cut. The instructions barely mention it. At over 46 pounds, this is by far the heaviest option here, so it basically lives wherever you set it up. But if you have a dedicated cutting station and thick, large format porcelain, this thing is an absolute monster in the best way. Last one, and it's something totally different. The Youkzuan toolkit isn't a bed cutter at all. It's a set of handheld power pliers designed for detail work that big machines simply can't do. You score the tile with the included cutter, position the jaws on the line, squeeze, and the torquey handle snaps it clean. The version 2 design has a buffer so you're not scratching the glaze. The whole kit fits in a tool pouch on your belt. Think about it, you're on your knees fitting tiles around a toilet flange and you need to trim a 1/4 inch off one edge. Are you really going to walk outside and fire up the wet saw for that? With these, you just score and snap right there. Zero mess. They handle ceramic, glass, travertine, and softer stone really well. Thick, dense porcelain is a different story. The pliers just don't have enough leverage for that material. This isn't a replacement for a real cutter, it's the sidekick that makes everything else more effective. So here's the bottom line. For professional large format work where failure isn't an option, the Shijing and the Rojoo are your heavy hitters. One built around precision and adaptability, the other around pure brute stability. If you're a serious renovator who wants pro results and a tool that lasts a lifetime, the Mempa TC1200 is the sweet spot. Budget conscious but still tackling big porcelain, the Vevor delivers way more than its price suggests. Need portability and you're working mid-sized tiles, the Mophorn keeps things light and practical. Small project with standard ceramics, Seeutek 14-inch, done. And the Youkzuan pliers belong in every tiler's pouch for those cuts that nothing else can make. All the links are in the description. If this helped you pick the right one, subscribing really does help the channel.